Welcome to Save Our Golf Podcast. It is again just me. Derek is out in La La Land, as I like to put it. He's doing okay. He's just taking a little bit of break. It's fine. But I'm joined with my guys, Matthew and JJ from No Bunker, No Bogeys. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to the shindig, by the way. It was so cool. Um, I know when Jordan's like, hey, we have these two guys coming and no bunkers, no bogeys. I'm like, who the hell are these guys? And then I was reading and I was asking Jordan, and then I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then talking to you guys was super cool. Obviously, we were playing the feather bowling or whatever it was. And I feel like if that's ever an Olympic sport, we could be a team. We'll just bring in Juju if it's co-ed. Um, but guys, thank you for joining me. I'm excited to learn about what No Bunker, No Bogeys is. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit since there are two of you?
Yeah, I love to do it. What's up? I'm Matt, one of the co-founders of No Bunkers, No Bogeys. By day, I run an education technology company, and by literally every other hour of the day, John and I are trying to build an inclusive golf community that's really about getting people out to play, enjoy this game that we all love, take it seriously, not seriously, have a good time, be new, be old at it, doesn't really matter. It's a game for everybody. So we're pretty excited about the community we're building and the momentum we're seeing. So I'm Matt. That's me.
And I'm Jonathan or JJ. Matt and I met in middle school, private school in New England, which is also known as the seventh and eighth layer of hell for a lot of people. And so we've been friends ever since then. I'll take Matt's lead. By day, I'm a clinical psychologist, also a sports psychologist in the greater Boston area. And every other hour, I'm a father of a 6-year-old who is a beautiful, beautiful mess. And I am also the co-founder of No Bunkers, No Bogeys. And like Matt said, one of the quotes that really got us going was Matt saying that he believed the game of golf was for everybody and we could make it so. And so we developed this online platform where people could get together, commune, cheer each other on, talk a little junk, but then also have this community that was really absent for Matt and I when we were introduced to golf. I think Matt was introduced earlier. He can probably speak a little bit about that. I was introduced to it in graduate school as an adult, but I was always trying to find people that I could play golf with who had the same vibe that I did. Because some of the other people, they were great golf companions, but I didn't really want to hang with them outside the course. And I was also looking for people who looked like me. And I couldn't find that as quickly and efficiently as I wanted to.
So thank you for introducing yourselves. I know one thing that I want to try to get better at with this is when there's multiple guests for the same group is to have them introduce themselves because you two, yes, you are no bunkers, no bogeys. That is who you guys are, but there's also way more to the two of you. And I just like to get that kind of out there. I guess by day, I work in the running industry. I'm an area manager. I'm like the boss's boss, if that makes sense. Like I go right to like the top essentially. So there's corporate and then there's stores, and then I'm right there in the middle. So I don't really talk about my job because I don't know if my job wants me to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like
Too late
I
now.
I I just don't. Well, my boss loves golf and I actually sent him a Shindig hoodie and he thought it was like the coolest thing ever because he let me use the company as a sponsor. And I was like, yeah, cool, why not? Sent him one as a thank you. Um, but thanks for joining me. I've been learning about No Bunker, No Bogeys kind of since the Shindig, since Jordan introduced all of us. Checking out the website today. I love what you guys are doing. Can you kind of tell me about how No Bunker, No Bogeys started, kind of the name, stuff like that? Especially since now, you guys mentioned that you two grew up together. You met in, did you say grade school or elementary school, middle school?
Middle school.
And now you two don't live near each other anymore. So I wonder what that dynamic's like.
Jay, you got it because the name came from John. Just gotta
Yeah,
throw
Matt gave me a lot of junk about the name because the name's kind of long. But the
It
idea
is.
was that we wanted to clear the way. We wanted to have no bunkers, no bogeys in front of you, in keeping you from good golf with great people. And so the online platform that we had was a part of that. The Instagram page was a part of that, but also live events, getting to meet people, getting to commune, whether it's playing 18 holes, 9 holes, driving range, mini golf, indoor golf, whatever it may be, however you play golf, fling golf was something that we were introduced with on this journey. So however you play golf and whatever iteration, whatever skill level, we wanted you to feel like you had a home and no bunkers, no bogeys, and you also had a hub with no bunkers and no bogeys.
So I like that you mentioned fling golf. Do you see my painting of Marilyn Monroe?
I
Yep.
do.
Right underneath it is a fling stick.
Oh,
Yeah, or we had
And I have
Austin.
fling sticks. We got our
Yeah,
own fling sticks.
we had
Yeah.
uh we had Austin Ebersol on, and I was like, hey, like this is kind of a weird thing, but like, can you send me like a signed fling stick? Just as like a fun like thing. It's like, hey, I have the signature from the number one fling golf player in the world, and he's such a good dude. Where it's like we love Austin and we love fling golf and how it's growing. But I'm glad that you mentioned it because I have one. It's right there. I've never used it because he's on the grip, and I want it to like rub it off. But uh, God, I want to go just see how far I can fling a golf ball with one of those.
Well, John and I both played lacrosse, and so fling golf has a little bit of a like fun, tie
Mhm.
back to an alternate play, way to play the game. And I gotta throw a shout out to my boy Gary Callis Jr., fling golf extraordinaire, part owner of the River City Rogues. So
Okay.
professional golf player, and we've had him on our podcast. And it's a cool game. It's cool to see alternate forms of the game, and I think it's been important for John and I. When we say golf is for everybody, we mean golf is for everybody. It's for everybody is an adaptive game. One of the very first things that we actually covered was the U.S. Adaptive Open, and it was really cool to get to see those athletes out competing. And Ryan, who won the very first one on the female side, has been like a great friend of ours, and a wonderful advocate for alternate forms of the game. So, like, what does it mean to make a game that we all love and we know matters something that anyone can go to a local course, whether you're playing footy or foot golf or fling golf, or you're playing actual golf, you're playing 6 holes, 3 holes, 9 holes, 18 holes, scratch golfer, US mid, gonna never break 100. It really doesn't actually matter, because the mental health benefits of it, the physical benefits of it, the relief, and the idea that you're just competing with yourself, it exists at every level and every flavor of the game. And like, there's really nothing else out there. And I think particularly for folks as we age out of team sports and we think about what is the sport and thing you pursue for the rest of your life, that makes sense, right? And tennis for me was such a good example. Like, the world like took on pickleball, right? And there's a lot of people, oh, pickleball is not tennis. Yeah, but if are 65 and like you have a knee that doesn't work, guess what? Tennis is not a game you're playing, but pickleball can be a derivative of that you can continue to enjoy. And so, like, how do we make golf that same thing? It's a lifelong sport. It's something that's fun. And as Francis Tiafo said last week, how do we bring a little culture to it that's not the uptight, stuffy country club, but like bring a little street culture to it, bring a little bit of what is current and fun and attracting people to it and making it a part of the world. And that's really what No Bunkers is about, because it's a game for everyone.
Yeah, it really is. And seeing how golf is, I don't want to say having a moment, because obviously we know golf is huge. Golf is, for a lot of us, golf is life, right? But my favorite part the last couple of years is seeing like the LPGA start to really blossom. And there have always been amazing women golfers and LPGA players. Like they would smoke everybody who says that they could beat an LPGA player. They couldn't beat the worst one. And
I will
now
be
we're
the
starting.
bookie for every single one of those bets. I will put up my own money. You come in, you bet, I'll take it. I will take your money,
Oh
because
yeah.
you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose.
Oh yeah. Those ladies are unreal. Lydia Ko's on our run. We were talking about her a couple weeks ago. We had Gigi Stoll on before she made it to the LPGA, and then like the next week she won. So we've been like the unofficial Gigi Stoll fan club kind of since then. And now she's on the LPGA. Would not be any happier, but it's like that is kind of the beauty of golf, right? You can go from, she was on the Epson tour, and then the next week you win, and then boom, you get your card. And it's just one of those things where, you can fall into it and now you're living your dream. And that's where I think the beauty in golf is like you guys said, it is for everybody. Um, I'm seeing friends of mine start to pick it up and get that itch. I actually played last night with a couple. They're or engaged, I believe. I don't know. I consider them married at this point. Just like I feel like once you're engaged, past a certain point, you're just together. Um, and he absolutely loves golf. His name's Chaz. You're probably going to see a lot of him on the Save Our page. We're kind of slowly integrating him a little bit more. He was actually at the Shindig. Big guy, tattoos, hits the ball a country mile. The nicest guy ever. Um, he is now so into golf out of nowhere. Everything in his bag is custom fit to him. He's got custom fit drivers. He's got these big fat Bryson grips going on, like the extra stiff shaft and everything. And he's like, dude, I love it. I can't put it down. He's like, should we just play every Monday? I'm like, I guess so. Like, sure. Once I run out of money, we're screwed. He's like, well, we guess we'll just make you more money. And I was like, well, that's not quite how that works. But
What
um,
it could be if you
yeah,
try.
yeah, no, he's golf is booming, and it's so fun to see people who you never see or you never would have thought would pick up a club. All of a sudden, they're out there smiling. You know, they have like, the one good shot they're round, and then they're back for the next week. Um, and that's what I love about No Bunker, No Bogeys is it is so inclusive. We're seeing a lot of clubs start to pop up like you guys, but I think you guys are doing such an exceptional job working with all sorts of different people. Um, obviously, I know you guys work with Daniela quite a bit. We love Daniela over here. I was just talking to her. She's like, "Oh, I'm on vacation," and the next thing I know, she's like in Italy. I'm like, "Damn, why can't I go on vacation to Italy?" So shout out to Daniela, but I love that you guys are approaching it from a very inclusive versus exclusive route because I've seen a lot of clubs that are very exclusive or specific or stuff like that. Um, and I just want to say, you know, for me being me and me being in Minnesota away from you guys, I really appreciate that from the outside looking in. Um, so for someone like me who's not in Boston or Texas, I think you said San Antonio, how do I join the No Bunker, No Bogeys club?
Yeah, listen, we have the advantage of being a national community. And it's funny if you think about us being, John's still in Boston, I'm in Texas, San Antonio. We have had as many meetups, if not more, in neither of those places as we actually
Sure.
had in those places. Right. We did a huge meetup out in um, Arizona, which included our contest winner, Megan, who's like an OG No Bunk fam member. Shout out Megan from Georgia. We've done additional meetups in Georgia as well. I think that we really encourage you check out our LinkedIn and Instagram. Definitely join those free communities. Check out our Circle page, which is our online community, paid community, where we actually put up a lot of exclusive discounts and deals for people to be able to go and check out. And we can make sure there's link in bio available for this podcast. But we really think that it doesn't matter where you are. We have members who are not in the U.S. Fortunately or unfortunately, I travel abroad a good amount, and I'm still posting on Instagram. So there have been various times when like Oslo or London was our number one like hit rate for open pages and posts because it was where we were, but people were resonating. And so I'd say it's a national community. Everyone can join, and we're actually looking at folks who want to be ambassadors for us in different and be a part of it. So we really think it's a big tent, and it's one where if it only grows as fast as Jay and I can build it, it's going to grow way too slow. Our hope is that we're fostering community that you all define.
Yeah, and I would say, given Matt's background, both in building companies, but I'm talking specifically about education, and mine in mental health and emotional wellness, we're approaching this as a wellness company. We're approaching this as an opportunity for you to do three things: connect with yourself, connect with other people, and connect with nature. A lot of clubs just focus on the golf aspect of it, or the competitive golf aspect of it, or the male golf aspect of it. And that's great. And I'm glad that there are a bunch of people who enjoy that. And for us, we wanted something different. What we wanted it to be was, I'm a dude in my 40s. I recognize there are certain things that I need in my life right now that I didn't need in my 20s and my 30s. And I wanted to build something with Matt that reflected what people in my generation or my stage of life would need, which is the security of emotional wellness, the security of human connection, and an outlet to be creative and explore my ceiling and my floor. That rhymed unintentionally. I apologize, but whatever. Hip hop runs through my veins. But
That's a bar.
that's bars.
Nas
But
said
that's
that
really,
hip hop is definitely dead.
but that's really what we were going for in terms of creating it. And then to just piggyback too on the LPGA, my hot take, and Matt, you can agree or disagree or plead the fifth. Like the PGA is kind of stalled, right? And it's kind of stalled from a social media perspective. We live in a generation where people want to get to know you on Twitter and on Instagram and on other avenues where athletes get the chance to tell their stories. A lot of PGA athletes, not all of them, but a lot of the big names, you go to their social media, sponsored post, sponsored post, sponsored post, and no creativity, no letting you behind the door. The LPGA golfers are really great at storytelling, giving you a behind the scenes look at what their life is like and also giving you an idea of the golf. And they work really well with the LPGA to do the storytelling as a whole. You know, one of the business books that Matt suggested to me really spoke about people have to see you in 4 different ways as somebody who's a brand ambassador, as a influencer, to really understand and appreciate and to trust who you are and the product or the information that you're trying to get them to get interested in or to purchase from you. The LPGA does a great job of that, right? I know a lot more about Nelly Corda and Rose as people than I do about some of the greatest male golfers in the PGA. And that's where I think a lot of people are getting attracted to. If a lot of our time is spent on social media, where are the stories coming from? The stories coming from the LPGA, not the PGA, because the Live PGA beef really caused the organization to stall, in my opinion. Man, I don't know what you think.
No, I would agree with you. And I'd say this think about the moments and the things that you care about in golf, right? Like, I'm an unapologetic Tiger fan. This is 2019 Masters poster. It's in the middle for a reason. I remember being in tears watching Tiger win. And it was the, I think, emotional release of seeing someone who I've always admired as an athlete, always wished the best for as a human, because I think you slap a camera in front of anyone at 4 years old, I will challenge you to see how normal that turns out from a like adjusted perspective. That's really hard. But to see this guy like actually get it together and get it done, like it was just such an awesome moment and a redemption arc. But there's real depth to people when they're willing to open up, and the PGA Live piece has like punished people for it. But like the guys I admire, like take a Billy Horschel stepping away when his wife was dealing with alcoholism, right? Like, and he was like unvarnished in that conversation and like clear about it. Rest in peace to Grayson Murray, but like a guy who actually talked about some of the struggles he went through. Listen, I don't care what your political persuasions are. Like Bryson being willing to be as vulnerable on camera, share his life, his ups and downs, like show himself struggle, take on new things, share his thought process, manic as it occasionally may be, right? Like you want these people to be people. And when they're not people, it's really hard to feel like you are seeing or feeling something authentic. And I think the LPGA has really hit on something special in the way that they've made the stars accessible and made it possible for folks to both be a member of the tour, but a human who's on that tour as well. And you talk to anyone who goes to an event, it's like, I got behind the ropes. I high five. People talk to me like they didn't treat me as like just a thing, that was there paying my bills, but instead, like you're a real member and like they care about leaving a legacy.
And I would say that's something that Matt and I stole from the LPGA when it came to our brand. We wanted it to be about the stories of our members and the stories of the communities because the golf will tell its own story, right? But it's about who hit that shot. That's a plumber from New York. That's a grad student of psychology in Indianapolis. That is a school teacher in Maine. Like those are the stories that make that shot even that much more brilliant when it's in put into a fuller, more richer perspective. And then as two co-founders, Matt and I recognize that as Black males, we have a certain perspective, but Black males, we have certain biases. We have certain things we don't know about. So in the creation of our business, we reached out to people who are like us to get an idea of what they would enjoy on the platform. But more so, we reached out to a lot of people who had different experiences from us, who were not like us, to be able to get a sense of what they needed so that we had as few blind spots as possible. And that's why a lot of the platforms started out as, let's say, female centric. A lot of partnerships with female influencers, female clothing brands, a pull to get female members because we wanted to make sure that from jump, we were addressing some of the blind spots that we may have based on a variety of our identities that might have precluded women from being involved in our club. And we wanted to make sure that at the very least, we started with this big group that had been previously disincentivized to join golfing communities by doing whatever we could within our power to welcome them into the community. Matt, I don't know if you want to say any more about
I'll
that.
just say a big shout out to, our partner Brittany, who's been also helping us be an authentic voice. Like, we want to hear, like, and where we fall short in particular, we want to hear about it. And I think our members have been great about sharing where we could do better. And we take that seriously, right? Like golf, it's super dramatic, right? Like we did a panel for South by Southwest, and Danielle actually just put a pretty fun behind the scenes, right? You hear me being like, in 2019, golf almost died, but it did almost die, and honestly, it kind of deserved to, right? It become closed off, elitist. It was hard to get on the course. It was hard to feel like you could be there. The beauty of what I think happened in 2020 is we all got a reminder of like, if we're taking golf this seriously, like maybe there's a problem. And that doesn't mean you can't be a competitive player, care about your score, get on the range, improve, whatever else. But at the point that you care more about what someone scores than the person who is scoring it, maybe we went a little far in the wrong direction there. And like, if you want this game to play, it's got to be cool for a parent of two. And I say parent, right? Not mom, not dad, not wine and nine, but a parent to say, I've got time to play 6 holes or 3 holes. Or, a student to say, like, I love this game, but I need to be able to have an option that allows me to play for $20. Right? Or someone say, hey, listen, I love going to Topgolf. That's my jam. I want a beer and chicken wings, and I want to be able to like hit balls into it's all golf. Right. And so like the more that we can destigmatize things that are non-18 hole competitive, I have my like be named gear on with the white belt and the hat, and I look like a pro and da 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 da. And the more we can say like, hey, it's a game that people play to get to enjoy each other, enjoy nature, and have some like healthy competition with themselves. Man, it's great. And like, I got to give you all a shout out. Like the shindig was dope. One Minnesota golf course is kind of epic.
Oh
Just
yeah.
a little bit. Summertime, I'm gonna say it. Right now, wintertime, come on south. Like, come on down. We'll get you a brisket. Bless your heart. You're gonna love it. But in the summertime, it's nice to get up there. Epic golf course is a lot of fun, but you saw people who could go out and shoot a 68 on any given day, playing with someone who could shoot a 168 on any given day, and they had a great time together.
Mm-hmm. So
Right.
it's not very often that like I'm speechless because like I always have a lot to say. At least I think I do. Sometimes it's just like mush. Um, but I did wanna you guys mentioned like hip hop and everything. I wore a shirt for you guys today because I remember briefly talking about hip hop. I have a Tupac shirt and it's him spitting broccoli.
Look at that.
I know,
That's clean.
I
That's
know.
that's it. That's a
Clean. Red
classic
Wings jersey.
classic photo.
Love
So
it.
I wore that for you guys today, but it's cold in my room, so I had to put on my favorite Minnesota golf course hoodie, which is the Wilderness. So, you know, um, oh my God, yeah. I
What's your top
agree with
five rappers? We might need a top five rapper commercial break here right
like of
now,
all
John.
time.
Ooh,
Yeah,
this
put them
is
on the Mount Rushmore. Who we
one.
got?
For me, the GOAT is Wayne.
Okay.
Like to do it at his age, well, I should say when he started at like what, 8, essentially, when he started rapping, to doing it now when he's damn near 40 and he still sounds the same and still, to me, it's hard to beat, especially when you kind of figure out like he's got an eye for talent, like Nicki and Drake. And I'm not a big Drake guy, but like to find some of those guys, you're just like, that dude is talented, right? So it's got to be Wayne. Um, I really do like J. Cole. I think he's more of like the lyrical MC, kind of
Rep
one of the
that
few
North
MCs
Carolina.
left. Huh?
Okay. It's a rep that North Carolina. All right.
Yeah, I know a lot of my friends like he raps too slow. I'm like, what the hell are you listening to? Because it's like I love like Bun B and like the Texas rappers and where it is real slow. Um, so that's 2. 3, kind of a newer guy for me. I've been on JID for a while, JID. Honestly, again, lyrical, tells a story. Um, I'm big into people who tell stories with their music. I think that is incredibly important. Just like we talked about telling stories with golf, and it's about the shooter, not not the scorecard, stuff like that. When you can sit there and tell your story and it's coherent, to me in music, that is what it should be about. It's you telling us about yourself. How many people are on the Rushmore? Is that 4?
You got four. Four works. We can do four.
Okay, so I'm at
Matt,
3.
you
So
got four?
Oh, I gotta go with 5, right? I mean, like, I feel like
nice.
you gotta go 5. I love how you wanted to go last, but like
Yeah,
Talib,
how did I go first?
yeah,
Um,
Talib and Rakim are definitely gonna be in my top 5, right? I'm putting Nas
oh, I'm
in
not
my
done yet. I'm only
5.
at 3. Um, 4. God, it's hard because if you guys listen, I listen to like a lot of like newer hip hop, and then like a lot of the oldies I listen to is like R&B. So it's like I love like Plies, like old Plies.
Mhm.
Plies is not on my Mount Rushmore. Oh my God. Hilarious dude. Um, 4. Okay, so I've got Wayne, Jid, J. Cole. I think this is where Tupac goes. I'm a bigger Tupac guy than Biggie, especially when you factor in his alter ego of like Machiavelli and everything. Like I think Tupac's got it. Plus the dude could act.
Mhm.
Like come on. Um, 5. This is where I struggle because I know as soon as we stop talking and I'm uploading this, I'm gonna be like, should have added him. Um, for me, it's about like replayability and like stuff to get me hyped to for number 5. So it's probably like Pop Smoke, which I know might be blasphemous, but that dude was literally on track to be my generation's 50,
Mhm.
which is wild to say. Because I was like, there'll never be another 50. Because 50 is 50. And then Pop Smoke comes out with his booming deep voice from the Bronx. And you're like, that man's 50 Cent with braids. And even 50 like was like the executive producer of his debut album. So like
Yeah.
for me, it's like you gotta give that man his flowers, even though he's not here to accept them anymore. Oh, well, I guess now there's Tupac, but Tupac's regarded as one of the greatest. So I guess that's my Mount Rushmore. It's hard because I didn't expect it to be on the spot, and it's hard for me to go first. So you guys are welcome.
All right, let me go with my 5, Jay. I'll give you. So I'm gonna go with like I'm gonna do it based on lyricism, not volume,
Got it.
right? Like if you do volume, you gotta put like Jay in your top 5, right? Like
Hmm.
I'd have to have Lil Wayne in my top 5, but he's not in my top 5, right? 50
That's
probably
fine.
there, right? So like I would say like it's probably Talib beating out Rakim for me. I would put Nas. I would put Biggie. Tupac's honorable mention for me, but like he's not there. I'm gonna put M in there, like lyrically unbelievable, freestyle ability unbelievable, right? Tough. I'm gonna say Childish Gambino is like a honorable mention for me. Just love the lyricism, the thoughtfulness. right? Like This Is America was like a moment in time that needed to happen, right? And
Should happen again,
hopefully
but
we're not playing that again
well,
on November 7th. But like, um, let's see here. Last for me, I'm gonna
while you
put
think,
I'm
my
gonna put
honorable
Kendrick
mention.
there.
So for me, I guess since what you're thinking, my honorable mention has to be Denzel Curry. I think for these newer guys coming up, he's probably
Yep.
like one of the, like, to me, he's the best. Like one, like, of these newer guys, like his, like, lyrically, good Lord. And then the way he can like speed it up and slow it down, and the dude's like, I think he's my age or a little bit younger than me, from South Florida.
Yep.
Um, you're just like, what in the world? Where did he come from? And then it's
Yep.
like everything he drops is just good, and his styles are so different. Obviously with like the Taboo album, you're like, good God, it's like, a little bit harder, a little bit heavier, and then all of a sudden it switches to like South Florida for the next album, and you're like, that's what it should be, and then it switches again, and you're just like, what is this dude? I love Denzel. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'll respect that. That's a great honorable mention, actually. Listen, I'm gonna put Kendrick in my top five. I just think like body of work and the storytelling, right? Like for me, it's about the storytelling. You go back to those dudes like in the 70s, and early 80s, it was telling a story that hadn't been told before. It was telling a uniquely American story. And like the guys that I'm talking about all stood on the shoulders of that. And like I think they've excelled, right? They've moved the genre like so far. But so I'd say Kendrick is there. And then I gotta do my one shout out also to RIP Mac, right? Like in terms of like feel good, Mac's Summer Day, windows
Mm.
down, gotta be Mac.
Mhm.
All right, Jay.
All right. So some overlap, but not a lot. One of the first albums that I stole from my brother who's older, Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers, when it came out. I've always been a Ghostface Killer fan. Love Ghostface merging those old Motown beats with the Wu-Tang sound, the East Coast rap. It does it for me all the time. And to that extent, I know it sounds like a carbon copy, Action Bronson. Action
Yeah,
Bronson he's just so ridiculous. And my friend introduced me to him a while ago, while ago, and he's like, "Yeah, there's this rapper who went to culinary school. He raps about food." And I was like, "What?" And so then I listened
His
to a few
wordplay,
songs. Yeah,
his wordplay is unreal.
it's
yo,
wild.
his wordplay, his food play. Go check out his Vice videos.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
like
I'm well
No, but
aware.
also
I know
shout
who
out
he
to that
is.
dude, like the weight loss journey and like the
yeah,
honesty about it. Like that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Hmm.
So we got Ghostface, we got Action. I'm also a Mac Miller fan. Mac has personally touched my life in terms of me using a lot of his music to work with youth who are dealing with substance use and just hearing his vulnerability, but also his wordplay and his songs was fantastic. And just how he could be Larry Fishburne on one album and do some jazzy stuff, but then also come back with that Pittsburgh, again, East Coast, I would consider East Coast rap. So that was fun. Um, Sleeper that you guys did not mention that I'm insulted that you didn't mention. Black Thought from the Roots.
Yeah.
From
Okay. All
any
right.
beat could murder it. And he's got that sway freestyle that he rapped for like 15, 20 minutes. They need to get that boy an IV when he was rapping from Philly, where my dad's from. And then I think this will be the fifth one. My guy, Andre 3000.
Mm,
I need
three
him.
stacks.
One of the best verses I've ever heard in my life is Life of the Party, unfortunately on a Kanye West album, but he kills it because he's trying to channel, have a exorcism, or not an exorcism, but whatever they call it when you're channeling a dead person, and like trying to get Donda West, Kanye's mom, to talk to his mom. And like if there's a
Seance.
conduit, if there's any way that they can
Seance.
communicate,
Yeah.
a seance, thank you. If there's a way that they can communicate, these are all the things he wished he had told his mom and how much he missed her. And it's beautiful. It's a great song. So those would be my top five in terms of people I want to listen to. Honorable mention, Childish Gambino. Honorable mention, not hip hop, but R&B, neo soul, Anderson .Paak. You throw on any
Mm,
Anderson .Paak album, if I had to listen to his music for the rest of my life, I'm there. The Tiny Desk concert, NPR with Anderson .Paak is what my son literally grew up listening to. Because during COVID, we would just go through NPR, Tiny Desk, Shaggy with Sting, Tyler the Creator,
Mac,
SWV. Oh,
Mac.
Tyler the Creator, I left him off the list too. Oh, call me when you get lost. So, but great albums, great albums.
One, can we shout out Tiny Desk, NPR, right? You want to be relevant for new generation. We didn't need Car Talk. We just needed, actually, no, let me not shit on Car Talk. I like Car Talk a lot. Sorry for swearing. But Tiny Desk was amazing.
Yes.
Right. And like such a cool thing. Listen, I'm gonna shout out one other guy, Pittsburgh dude, Wiz. Like Wiz Khalifa is it's a good listen. And then you said something, Jay, that I think is worth mentioning. We all grew up on Kanye. Now listen, I Kanye is Kanye now. He is a man on his own vision quest. And I can't agree with Kanye, the political figure, Kanye, the icon of whatever he's iconic in his own mind. But some of those early albums, right? Like College Dropout and others, you know, again, dudes who could tell a lyrical story. And I had the privilege of being there for the first 2 nights of Watch the Throne in Chicago back in the day. Like, it was unbelievable. I don't like an indescribable experience to see that in Chicago. So
I totally agree with you, man. I saw Kanye at North Carolina A&T, so a historical Black college and university, HBCU. When the College Dropout came out, Matt and I are old enough to have been in college when the College Dropout came out. And
old enough for our parents to be like, don't get any stupid ideas.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. Like, our parents got nervous when that album came
If
out
you're
and it
not
was
Kanye
popular. They're
West,
like,
let
yeah,
me
don't
explain
get
to
any
you, you are
ideas.
not Kanye West. You are not that smart.
But the album, to be truthful, the album made you go, huh? Like, you are on this path. You again, Matt and I went to elite private schools in New England. You're on this path towards college. You don't really think about it. All you do is achieve, achieve, achieve. And then you get to college, and then the world kind of breaks for you in this way where you're now exposed to different ways of life. Matt went to college out of state. I went to college out of state. And just what you thought adulthood and college was supposed to be, the myth didn't really match up with the reality. And so we got that realization and then this musical experience that really spoke to it. And there were moments where I was like, do I really want to go on the path that I was destined to go on, that people thought I should go on? Or do I really want to go on my own path? So for me, I was a college dropout in the fact that I chose my own path, went my own way, paved my own street, and chose my own future versus being a college student that my parents wanted me to be, that New England private schools wanted me to be, and that I felt society wanted to be.
This is a big part of growing up, right? Like you realize that the map that everyone told you existed was a myth in part to justify the experience and existence that they had. You know, I grew up in the investment banking world, and you talk to people and they say, you know, we don't have to like beat kids up. They don't have to like work 120 hours a week. We don't have to have an analyst die every year from overwork. Yeah, but that's what I came up in. And I think it's been interesting to see this generation, especially for millennials and Gen Z, where the financial system no longer works, right? Like it doesn't necessarily work to go spend $400,000 in debt to go to a 4-year college, you know, and I work in education and I'm in schools and districts talking to people all the time in K-12. We got to find different pathways. But I think finding part of different pathways is also a reminder of the humanity of all of the people that are out there. Like you're not just a means to an end. You're not a cog in an industry. You're a human who is here to bring your own unique skill set and belief and ability to achieve. And like, I think it ties back to golf for me in a way that like part of the reason I love bringing humanity to a game like golf is it's a game that travels with you. You don't have to play on your home course. You don't have to be like, you can bring your clubs with you, but like the more that we can find opportunities societally to expose ourselves to people that we don't normally see, recognize their humanity, express and exchange some actual love and appreciation for them, and a reminder that the world is a big, diverse, complex place, that people are dealing with stuff every day, and you don't know what the guy next to you or woman next to you is dealing with, but you can treat them with, you know, grace, because we're all navigating a journey without a map and trying to make the most of one life. And I think that there's like real beauty in that, and recognizing that for so many people that's just a struggle. Like it's hard. And anyone who tells you it's easy is either so independently wealthy, and that comes with their own set of things that like you know, that we can't even imagine there too. Like there's just no pathway that's easy. There's just pathways and people. And there's like real beauty in this idea that golf is a metaphor for folks being on that pathway and exploring it in a way that makes them comfortable and feel whole, seen, and heard. And like our job is to open the door to let them in.
So I don't know how we got from like music to here. I love it. I do want to shout out. I have two more guys. Um,
Dude, we got you moving on this. I love
Get
I
him
it.
in,
know.
get him in, get him in.
So one, you gotta shout out Nip. I think what Nipsey was doing was unreal, especially for his community with the marathon store and
Better person
just
than rapper. I'm just gonna say it,
yes,
like rapper, but better person than rapper.
unbelievable rapper. I mean, when you have the mayor of your city saying, "Damn, I was excited to see what he was going to do in the community," and then just to have like essentially a selfless act of violence that they told the shooter not to even do, and then he still did it and robbed us of what could have been one of the greats, but also one of the greatest, philanthropists we've ever seen in hip hop is a shame. And then I said Nipsey, and then I always go back and I always, always, always talk about Joey Badass.
Mm.
Another one of those younger guys. No one ever talks about him. Everything he drops is so heavily him, and it's so heavily lyrical. It heavily tells a story. I'm happy you guys brought up Kanye because sometimes I feel like it's hard to differentiate the artist from the art. Um, so you talking about being a college dropout, I haven't finished my degree yet. I've been in college since God knows when. I've been taking like a hiatus the last couple of years, but I took um an art, no, it wasn't art history. It was a humanities class. We were talking about it was like the Romantic era. It's one of my favorite eras in history in terms of art. And we're talking about how all of these classical musicians that we all look back on and we're like, damn, that's like a symphony and stuff like that. I can't pinpoint which exactly one, but they're not the best people ever. And, a lot of like the really classical ones really, really like Germany during World War II. And you're like, "Oh, such a shame." And now we're seeing it today again with Kanye, and even to some extent, some of like the more not as well known hip hop artists like King Von. Like King Von was telling unbelievable stories in his music, but unfortunately, they were also true stories of him like actually like, shooting people on the streets and, his ops and whatever. Um, I sometimes it's hard to differentiate that. And, I've had issues with like R. Kelly. Like I love some of his music, especially like the collabs with Usher and T-Pain, and you're like, I don't feel right listening to this. And that's something I struggle with, uh, not daily, but like I've got like a work playlist we listen to, and it's like I've like taken some of that stuff off, just like I don't want to have that conversation with the customer. It's like, oh, you listen to this. I'm like, I like it, yeah, but like it doesn't reflect me. And then they're like, well, why are you listening to it? And I like stood back and I was like, that didn't happen, but oh my God, that did happen. I don't know what I would say. Um, but going back to what you guys are saying, I'm extremely lucky to have very understanding parents. My mother's a teacher, uh, patience of a saint. I could never be in education. So shout out to you, Matt, and obviously you, JJ, for working with the youth. Not for me. I don't have the patience. I don't really have that drive that teachers need. And I know that. That's absolutely fine. And then my dad never went to college. He works for like a prescription drug company, something like that. I don't quite understand it. It's over my head. He's explained to me, and I'm like, that's cool. And then it's in one ear, out the other. Um, but they've always encouraged me to find my own path. Whether I fail, whether I succeed in anything, they're always my biggest supporters and my biggest fans. They're always the first shindig orders, they're always the first merch orders. Like without a shadow of a doubt, they're like, hey, you designed that, you helped design it, cool, we're buying it. And obviously you guys see like that's not even all my shoes. That's like 3 stacks. I have a big bookcase here, and then I have shoes older than me in my closet. Well, it might be older than me. It's as old as me. I have like an original pair of 12s from 97. And then like you see all my like I see you. I see you. You see all my cameras, like I got one over there, it's like $1,700. My parents could have easily been like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing all this? Blah blah blah. But they understand it's like this isn't our life. This is Dominic's life. This is my son's life. And it's something that I think they understand how appreciative I am. They don't listen to these. So hopefully one day when they do, they're gonna find this and like really cry, but like in a good way. I don't want to make them cry in a bad way. Um, but it all goes back to golf. My grandparents put me in golf at a young age. They put me in lessons, and then I did the lessons, and then I never did anything with it. And then like my senior year of high school, a couple of my good buddies who I've been friends with forever, they're like, "Hey, do you want to go play golf?" I'm like, "When the hell did you guys play golf?" Like it just never occurred to them to say anything. We went out, we played. I had like hand-me-down sets of clubs with the iron or the grips are literally like hard as a rock and like crumbling but it wasn't about how bad we were because none of us were good, right? We're meeting up at the local executive course. It's just us being dudes, it's me hanging out with my good friends. And to me, that's kind of the beauty in life, right? Like I'm on my own path, you two are on your own path, but well, I shouldn't say all of us, but we all end up meeting at a golf course. It's kind of what connects us as people, or as golfers, I should say, because not everybody likes golf. But it's the one thing the three of us have in common, other than I think we're pretty similar in terms of the way we all think. You guys are just a little bit older than I am, because I'm younger than everybody. That's one of the running
Just a
jokes.
little bit, just a tiny, like a scotch.
Just like a couple years, right?
No,
Um, but to me, that's what makes golf so special. I grew up playing baseball. I'm not making it to the minor leagues. I'm not making it to the major leagues. I'm not making it to college ball anymore. I'm 27, not happening. Um, but I have golf clubs. I can go meet up with you guys at one of your events and be like, cool, where, like, what tee box are we playing? And have the time of my life. That's to me what golf should be about. And to me, that's where the PGA lost it. And to me, that's where Liv picked it up and ran with it because every hole for them is like a party. And I think that's kind of what golf should be. When the golf course took away our shotgun start for the shindig, we did the I don't remember how they worded it, but we did every 8 minutes another team would tee off. Derek and Jordan were like, "What are we gonna do?" And then I don't remember which one you replied to the email, but you're like, "Party on the first tee, let's go." And I was like, "That's the attitude that we need." And then we did walk up songs for everybody, and it was like a beautiful thing to do. And that's been like one of our bucket list things for a long time is how do we throw an event with walk up songs? Well, we accidentally did it. So I think that's the beauty in this game. It connects all of us on some level, whether it's a physical level or a subconscious level. Whether you like Tiger, you like Bubba. I don't like Tiger. I didn't grow up on Tiger. That's a whole thing.
yeah, we're
Um,
a lot older than you.
I'm
Never
glad.
mind.
I'm glad. I'm glad you came out with that towards the end of the podcast because Matt
I
might
am.
not have come on if you led with that.
Yeah. So I think subconsciously, like that's the beauty in this game, right? It's so much different than every other sport. To me, it's not really a sport. To me, it's like a social event, which is I know is what Jordan preaches with Odin. It's what you guys are doing with your events, which I do want to touch on before we end because I love seeing your guys' events on my Instagram feed whenever they do happen. Um, so long story short, this is where I kind of lose my train of thought at this point. Golf is very special to all of us. regardless of anything. And I think that's the beauty of it. Before we end, I do want to talk about your guys' events that you're hosting and you're throwing, because I would love to have some of the listeners try to make it to one of your guys' events, or even Derek or I, if we're close or can like take the time off. I have no issue going out. Um, don't don't tempt me, dude. I'll fly out. I know people in Boston. Um,
We'll have you out at
and
any
unfortunately, they will
event.
get me absolutely wasted and then leave me on a corner and then pick me up the next morning. But
We'll send the bus for you.
Brendan will be like, Dom, just sit here. Here's your taco. We'll come get you in like 4 hours. And I would have the time of my life. Um, what are some upcoming events you guys are doing? I know you just had one. Um, with these events, like what goes on exactly too? Is it just like the Shindig but smaller? Is it your own version of things? Um, I do want to touch on that because I think that is something you guys are doing that Derek and I really do enjoy seeing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jay, definitely throw out. You want to talk about the upcoming event on the 29th?
Sure. Yeah. So we're having a competitive, and I use that term lightly and in quotation, scramble. So we're gonna do a 9-hole scramble at one of the local courses that's been really great for us, and one that has really kind of stood out as a very inclusive golf course. So Brook Meadow Golf Course in Canton, Massachusetts. We're gonna do a little scramble. Come play for comfort, come play for competition. We'll have some prizes for first, second, third. We're gonna do a longest drive close to the pin and a little putting challenge. And then we'll have
Okay.
some raffle items from some of our favorite friends in the golf community, Odin Golf. We'll have some stuff from the PGA Tour Superstore, who we've collaborated with in the past, and then also from Devereaux. And it's an opportunity to get people together. We had an event there in August with about 21, 22 people. And this time we're trying to double it and get it up to 44. And just like you were talking about, we decided to do the 9-hole scramble so that you could get enough golf in, but again, prioritizing that social atmosphere and that opportunity to commune. So when we did it in August, the golf was only 2.5 hours, but the social part lasted for about 4 hours. And it was starting to get dark at the golf course. And I was like, dude, I gotta go home with my baby. Like, I gotta go. But we were having so much fun. And so that's our second Boston event. We're gonna plan some indoor stuff when the weather turns cold. And then Matt, you want to talk about some of the events that you've had and some of the events that are coming up?
Yeah, a couple things. If you're in Atlanta, we know that Mari and Shonda are on the 14th. So this week, doing a meetup at Browns Mill. So definitely check that out. And then another on the 19th of John A. White. So they're ambassadors for us in Atlanta, and they've done an amazing job of getting it moving. We'll get some posting up for that. And then no weekend of November 2nd, we're planning an event, casual meetup, likely Dobson Ranch out in Scottsdale. And so kind of going back to it, November timeframe, beautiful time to be in Arizona playing golf. And like a really lovely time to get folks together. So we're doing a lot of these, and it's just been fun, man. Like it's been great to get people together. And I think that it's helping people find that moment to break in for themselves. We're using hip hop as like our metaphor for life today, right? Like the other shout out you got to give is definitely Missy Elliott, right?
Mm.
Right. Like you talk about people who broke down those barriers for folks. Like there's no Nicki, there's no Megan the Stallion, right? Without first having a Missy, right? And she broke through so much and dealt with so much as a Black woman, from a sexuality perspective, like tons and tons of things that she went through in those places and broke down a barrier. Like we want to make it a comfortable place in the golf community. So whoever you are, whoever feels like they aren't actually represented, feels like they can come to an event of ours and they're going to be welcome. And I think that's been the coolest part for us, which is John and I don't even have to reinforce behavior. It's the same thing at the Shindig, right? And it's the same thing when we've done all our events. People are hungry for an environment and a place where they can show up and just be themselves. And that's going to be accepted. No one's looking for you to be something else, right? No one's expecting that, you're only going to be accepted if you can also shoot 5 under. Like you can shoot 50 over. No one really cares. As long as you're fun to play with, you have a good time with it. You're competitive with yourself, but not like unnecessarily competitive with other people, right? Like you can knock yourself out and have a great time, and people do it. And I think that to me is so important, but it also reflects something I think John, that you were saying earlier. Like we're on a journey, we're on a path. Everyone's achieve, do, create, make money, do all these things. There's just so few moments where we allow ourselves a chance to get a break. And, I say this is someone who's CEO of a company who, has felt pushed every day of my life. And like, I'll share this, something I don't share often. I grew up in Connecticut. I moved to Boston when I was 9. So right before I met Jay, so it's, fourth grade. When I was 9, like I had so much anxiety that I was at like the head of children's psychiatrics at Columbia because like I developed a psoriasis on my nail that was a stress reaction. Right? Like I was 9. This shit's crazy. But like now that I'm 40, it's not a psoriasis thing. Like it's the thing that's putting people in the ground. And if we don't find our ways to be ourselves and be authentic and find that break, like the end result is to put you in the ground and there's no coming back from that. So tell me what makes more sense. Finding opportunities to be vulnerable, share of yourself, use this beautiful game of golf to like give yourself that mental break or push yourself till you're in the ground. Because here's the thing, man, you can go to any uh, burial plot cemetery and ask those people if they had something to do that day. Guarantee they did. Like it'll take you out and it doesn't matter. And it's, I'm a big guy, I use it as a chance to get some health and wellness for myself. Like we got to start taking it more seriously that the world can be a hard, cold, and unforgiving place, or we can create the spaces that make it beautiful and enjoyable and a relief. And if we're not willing to be that vulnerable and we're not willing to have that conversation, we're not willing to create spaces that make that an authentic reality, shame on us.
Again, speechless. Yeah, well said. One thing I want to add, a couple things, because we're gonna wrap it up, but we always ask food questions. It's our thing. Derek and I love food, even though Derek's not here. Derek is still like right here in spirit. Hopefully not really, because that'd be weird. This is my room. This is my space. Um, at the shindig, one of the older guys before he teed off from the first hole pulls me aside. He goes, "Hey," and I found out Derek didn't know him. Derek didn't invite him. He just found us. And he was like, "Hey, I'm so happy this is not one of those really old, stuffy events. I'm having so much fun." And of course, I'm with my camera because I'm taking pictures of everybody teeing off. I don't know if I sent you guys yours. I'm sorry if I didn't, but I got some bangers of you too. If I didn't
Nice.
send them, I'll DM them because they're really good. I have them saved. Um,
Coming to a quick Instagram post that we forgot to put together soon.
um, for him to do that and to pull me aside, I'm not your stereotypical looking golfer. I've got this beard. I've got all this hair. I was running around with a camera. I was like, this is what it should be about. And he's like, I just want to thank you. I'm having so much fun already, and I haven't even teed off yet. And I said, hey, it's gonna be even more fun. Go hit some balls. Afterwards, we're all gonna grab some food at the little hangout that we all did. You're gonna have even more fun. And he goes, really? I'm like, yes, you're gonna have the time of your life. And again, quite a bit older than the three of us, which for me, I was like, that means we are doing, I don't want to say it was our job, but that's something that we set out to do is make it fun for people my age, his age, and people younger than me. We wanted it to be very inviting, very forward. He just thought our flyer looked really cool. And I was like, damn right, it's a sophisticated loon. So that's how we found it. And to me, that was probably the best part, other than seeing everybody. I was like, that's gonna stick out for me for who knows how long, but that means we were doing it right. Um, as I mentioned, we always end on food questions. So Derek and I love to eat. It honestly is the best part. The whole shindig week, we basically went to Fuzzy's every night at like 11 p.m. and just drank margaritas and ate tacos. Until I had to like stumble back to his apartment and sleep on his couch. Um, so I want you guys to both answer this because you're in different areas. If Derek and I ever head out to San Antonio or to Boston, where are we gonna go eat? It could be a breakfast, lunch, dinner scenario. It could just be your favorite spot. I just want to know and add it to the list that I should have made a while ago.
Go for it, Jay.
I was gonna say I want to add something to this because um, Matt is a very good chef. So I'm gonna do a place that I would take you and a meal I would cook for you. And I want to hear what Matt would do the same. So the meal I would cook for you, a staple of our family, baked mac and cheese.
Mm,
Okay. Love baked mac and cheese. At grad school, we had a potluck one day, and I told somebody I was bringing the mac and cheese.
Thank,
Somebody else brought some mac and
thank God in your Denver place that
cheese.
you
I was in Denver.
thank
Somebody else
God.
brought some mac and cheese. My mac and cheese was clean to the bone after people ate it, and we jokingly called it Black Mac because they were like, "Is this mac and cheese with breadcrumbs or is this Jay's mac and cheese?" So I was like, "You may call this Black Mac." So baked mac and cheese, a little paprika on the top, a pound of butter. Like it's not good for your body, but it tastes delicious, and you can only have it once a year. The place I would take you, I live in Somerville. It's an area near Cambridge. It's this place called Barra. It's a really dope, beautiful Mexican restaurant with tacos and all the accoutrements. They have delicious drinks if that's your thing, but the food is really delicious. It's in a beautiful area off the beaten path. So not only would you have a nice little walk there, a little comic book store over there if that's your thing too,
mm.
is my thing. And then you get some good tacos, a little bit of drink, and you'd have a great chill night in the neighborhood. But that Black Mac will put you out for a day, and then you'd have to get ready the next day for the bar. How about you, Matt?
So a
First,
little known fact about me before Matt kicks it in, I was actually supposed to be a culinary science major for the Arts
Oh,
Institute. Um, so I know my way around a kitchen. I didn't go to school for it because I we got that bill and I was like, I'm good. So it's been a while, but I was supposed to be like a chef.
listen, you're only 27.
I'm not
Wait,
going.
wait till you get to
I'm
40 though, because you'll build it at home, right? Like in
oh,
my
there we go. Okay.
kitchen, I have like 3 immersion circulators. When I built my house, I built my kitchen to do large scale food prep. Okay. Place I would take you to would probably be in Austin, actually, not San Antonio, because it's, only a little bit north. And it's this amazing restaurant called Everly. Like they just have this awesome, somewhat eclectic menu, right? Like your your vegan and your meat eater can all find amazing stuff that's there, but like thoughtfully done, beautiful drinks, great bar, awesome whiskey selection, awesome wine selection. That's really what you're looking for, right? Like, and it's just in this like super dope mid-century modern built out space. They've also got brunch in this like solarium, but like doesn't get hot. It's just like really cool spot to be.
Hmm.
Like that's one of my favorites. Cooking, I mean, it's. I mean, at my house, we're going all out, right? Like, it's brisket, it's ribs, it's pulled pork, it's collard greens, it's mac and cheese, right? Like we're just, and then I do this like Brussels sprout slaw, courtesy of my friends over at Chef Steps. Shout out Chef Steps, got me into sous vide in the first place. But like it's the real deal, and like we're going hard on that. And I will say, as someone who for years has had to do Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners for 40 people as a solo enterprise, yeah, it works. It works. You introduce people to some real collard greens, real mac and cheese, and they look around and they're like, I don't know what I've been eating. I said, well, you didn't
and I
eat
need to sit down.
you didn't eat the black version of this, and my wife is Mexican, and the family didn't get the real deal until I married in. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm Derek's wife is Mexican, so I'm very spoiled. So whenever I go over and she's cooking, I try to like get a little dish. The issue is I love Taco Bell and everyone like I know enough like people who can make like legit Mexican food. They're like, Dom, what are you doing? Like, it's my guilty pleasure. You live in California. I live in Minnesota. Let me be. And it's one of those things where it's like, "Ew, Dom, what are you doing?" I'm like, it's like 10 p.m. I just let me be. Let me live my
You're
life.
you're a Baja Blast guy, aren't you?
I had the Baja Blast gelato the other day.
Wow. Wow. And
Actually,
ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on the Save Bar podcast. We'll talk to you later.
Listen, dude, we gotta get you out of Minnesota into some warm place with some tacos and like a Topo Chico. Like you gotta leave, man. You gotta leave.
oh,
You
I'm a
got
high noon guy, but Topo Chicos are good.
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah, I mean, as JJ said, that's a wrap. Thank you guys for joining me. Um, hang out just for like a couple minutes after because I have like an idea I want to do for like a post. But um, thank you for explaining no bunker, no bogeys to everybody and myself. So now I'm probably gonna like register at some point. So you're welcome,
Welcome.
I guess. Welcome.
No, we had a blast, man. It was great to talk to you, and we felt your spirit, and we knew you were behind that conversation. Hopefully, you're enjoying it. We'll well deserved time off, but it's awesome to talk about. This is one of the highlights of the week.
Yeah. No, it's funny because last week he texted me. He goes, "Ah, you did really good alone." I was like, "Did you think I wouldn't? Like, what the hell does that mean?" I'm like, "Dude, I've done more of these alone than you have."
You have little faith, Tom. You have little faith.
I know, like Derek, like let me be. Like,
You should send him a
what?
mustard seed. That's what you should do. Faith of a mustard seed, Dominic.
Uh, well, thanks, guys. Uh, can't wait to post this.
Cool. Peace.